A picture can make or break your publicity and your book. People do judge books by their cover, and a lot of people put their books, they put their, a lot of people put their author picture on the cover of their book. Some people do, some people don't. Some people like it, some people don't like it. We'll talk about that as well. But you need a good picture. And it's too easy to take a bad picture, especially today, since everyone has an iPhone and they think they are Ansel Adams with an iPhone. And that may not suit you to the best. So let's find out how to take a great picture. And today we are joined by Trade Bohlen, who is going to teach us what the do's and don'ts of taking great pictures. So, Trey, first of all, tell us a little bit about your background in photography.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Dan. I have been a photographer for 12 years, and I have done everything from babies to adult people, families, and most recently, I have started helping people with their personal branding. And I'm excited to share with you a little bit about creating a good personal brand photo, which is a little bit different from a headshot. So, can't wait to share with you guys.
All right, well, what's the difference?
What's the difference? So a headshot is going to be on a very neutral background. Usually it's color, so maybe it's black or white, or maybe it is in your brand color, and it's a shot that is like from this to this. Actually, it's pretty much here, kind of what you're all giving me right now. But it would be on a neutral background, and you're usually smiling, looking at the camera, kind of like a passport image, or your driver's license. But in a more professional manner. So that's a headshot, just kind of from your chest up a little bit over. So, why I love to talk to people about personal branding issues is because that brings in a lot more personality and character. And if you guys are storytellers, you know all about creating character and backstories. And so, personal branding is about creating that character and that brand and sharing who you are in the photo. So, for example, I have greenery in my background, not because I'm a good gardener, but because I love new life and because I love the freshness that comes from being out in nature. And then also, like, I'm wearing stripes. That is a part of my brand. I'm not really sure why. It's not because I want to go to jail, but I just like this pattern. So it's a big part of who I am. And so I also have bright pink lipstick and I have pink hair. These are things about my brand that help me to show people that I'm fun, that I'm different, that I'm outside of the box thinker. So when you're getting a headshot, it's great to like do your hair, have your makeup done. Ladies, gentlemen, if you feel like you need that extra boost, then go right ahead. And then having just, a neutral background that can work really well. On a business card, but when you're sharing with social media, you're on LinkedIn or you're on the cover of your book, you want to convey more than just, I'm a professional and here's my image. When we're able to share things like props, I have one of my favorite props with me. I'm a tea drinker, so this is in my brand color. It says Amazing Grace. That's a big part of who I am, and so I might incorporate, this into my personal brand image where I have a cup of tea and it's all in my brand colors and it's kind of telling a story. So I don't know if that kind of helps answer that question about what the difference is.
Yeah,
Does
can
that
you give
help?
us some other examples of of your other clients who've used their brand pictures?
Yes. So I have a client who is a coach, and he is using his brand imagery on LinkedIn. He is offering a new course. He was going through a rebranding process where before he was a part of a conglomerate and he had a franchise. And so he kind of had to match that franchise's what they were putting out there. And so now he's able to share more of who he is, who his brand is through the stories and the photos that we took together as a part of our brand session.
Okay. Um, are there any do's and don'ts about taking pictures? We can talk about headshots as well, because I think that's when, we'll start with the baby steps and move to the branding steps. But, just for headshots, what are some do's and don'ts that's common mistakes that people make?
Yes, I think a very big don't is when you try something new on the day of of the photo shoot. You're like, I'm gonna wear my hair all the way over here, or try something wild and different for a headshot because authenticity. That's what people are looking for. So whatever your favorite thing is, then wear that. Your favorite sweater, your favorite shirt, you're going to be comfortable. And it's going to help empower you when you're wearing something that you love. So that's with a headshot. So that's going to help you to kind of have that confidence when you show up for a headshot. So please don't try something new, and please do wear something that you love.
What about cameras these days? Everyone has an iPhone and they think they're a great photographer. Are iPhones good enough, or can your spouse or your partner take a picture of you in front of a blank wall? Is that good enough these days?
Of course, I think that there's a time and place for iPhone camera photography. I love oversharing my life on social media, so I often am using snips and things that I've taken of myself or have my husband shoot for me. But here's the difference between when I give my husband the phone and when he gives me the phone. He doesn't do this for a living, so he's not going to capture it in the way that I want. And I usually have to ask him to do it over and over again. I love you so much, honey. Um, but, but they're not going to have that eye that the professional will. So when you hire someone to do the professional work for you, you're going to get someone who's expertise in it, maybe someone who's gone to school for it, or someone who has lots and lots of hours. So they're able to make you feel comfortable. They're able to suggest different posing for you. And you know what? You won't get that dreaded passport photo or the driver's license where you're like, oh gosh, I wish I could retake that. So that's the difference.
Okay, that's really good. Hey, I have clients who sometimes they want to put their faces on the cover of their books and sometimes they don't. And I was wondering, what are your feelings about that?
I actually have pretty strong feelings about that because I want to get to know you. I want to know who is writing this book. I want to see your face. They say that a picture's worth 1,000 words, but they also say that the eyes are the windows to the soul. Whenever I'm reading something, I want to see who wrote it. I can tell so much about someone from seeing a picture that they're sharing. And usually the picture that you're sharing to go along with your book says a lot about you, or at least I hope it does, or you liked it a lot. And so that's going to help me to resonate. And I'm a big proponent, and we'll get into it, about branding and sharing who you are with the world. I want to see people. I want to know your story and who you are personally, who God made you to be. So I'm a big champion for showing your face to the world. You are beautiful and amazing, and there's only one of you. So why hide it?
That's great. I have the same feelings. And when I talk to my clients about that, some of them buy into it, and some of them like they just think it's too much out there, and they're think it's too egotistical or something. But I'm glad that you brought those points up. In fact, one of the books I wrote or coached with the general with a year or two ago. I had no say in the cover there, but he actually had a picture of himself in uniform with his the beret on, with the insignias and all that, and it with a flag background. They
Yes.
really did a great job, and you knew it was a veteran's book, or it was a military book. It was a leadership book, so it really
Yeah.
spoke to the thing. But I've had other clients who said, just put words on the cover, put my picture on the back, little passport picture, and they're perfectly happy with that. But for branding purposes, I agree with you completely. It's people want to get to know, like, and trust you with their
Yeah.
books, and there's no better way to do that than just to have your picture there. So that's good.
Mhm.
Let's say that some people just really just don't have the money, time, or effort, or ability to pay a professional photographer. What are some do's and don'ts that they can do with their iPhone, that some problems you've seen, or some ways to correct some problems with an iPhone?
I'm so glad that you asked that. This is one of my favorite things to share because I really want to help you. And it's the quickest way that I can help you as a photographer. So, light source. It's really important to know where your light source is coming from, especially if you're someone that wears glasses. Like I see some other glasses wearing friends here. So, you can see that I don't have any of those reflection hitting my glasses because I really love for people to see my eyes because I'm a I'm a very charismatic person. And I do think the eyes are the window to the soul. So I want to make sure that people can see that. So what I've done is I've strategically placed my light and my camera source so that you don't see any of those flares interfering with my vision. So here's the best place to put your window or your light. So my window is here. Okay, my light source is here. So I am perpendicular to the light source.
Mhm.
The reason why I'm perpendicular is because then the light is going to cascade this way over my face. So if I go like this, look at the light is hitting my glasses and causing that reflection, which is very distracting when people are looking at me, then they can't see my expression. So put the light source like this, like perpendicular to you so that the light will fall very nicely over your face. So see how it's kind of casting a shadow? That's also really pretty and it's not harsh. So I'll show you, for example, if I go like this and face the light source, oof, you get the glare in the glasses.
Mhm.
Plus, my face is very flat and I want more dimension and I want it to be more interesting. So that's why I put the light source right here so it can kind of cascade and fall over my face. Another big no-no, and I see lots of people doing it. And it's kind of pretty at sunset to do this, but you've got to like be perfectly timed, is you put the light source behind you. So I'm going to kind of show you what that looks like. I also like to sit cross-legged. So if you put the light source behind you, see what it does? Do you see how my face grew dim with the light source
Hmm.
behind me? And then what's it doing? The light is cascading off my hair, which
Right.
can be really pretty at golden hour when the sun is setting and the light's very gentle and you kind of get that glow around you. But right now it's actually more distracting because you're seeing the bright light coming from behind my head. And am I going to be abducted by an alien? Is this the end of my life? So we don't really want that. So it's all about light source with iPhones, especially because you want it to look more high end. If you use a flash, the flash will just only be able to hit right here. With a professional, they're able to angle the flash and have it not be on their camera. So when they're taking the picture, they can put the flash over here and cause that brightness to kind of cascade over your face, like I'm doing with the window. So those are a couple of tips. The other thing, the other thing that I love to encourage people with is to think positive thoughts when you're having your photo done. It does convey just so much from your expressions. And then I try to help people to relax. And so, doing a breathing exercise because you don't want a picture where you're like this because you're all tense. People can read the tension. So, helping your shoulders to relax. Maybe I do an exercise with my daughter where we pretend that there's a candle and then we say, light a candle, blow it out. And that kind of like calms her down by singing something, saying something, breathing, and then we're ready for the picture. And then you take your photo. So I hope those were helpful tips.
Those are great tips. I'm wondering, can you use a Zoom picture as your brand picture or your passport, so to speak, picture? Is that quality good enough or not?
I think so. Here's the thing about Zoom, it does diminish the quality of the image because Zoom is meant to be for video. So you're going to get that higher quality when you're using the actual camera that is attached to your phone, whether it's an iPhone or Android. And the other interesting thing about the different cameras on your phone is the front facing, I love because I can see myself and know what's happening, but the quality will not be as great as the backward facing camera. The stronger cameras are on the backward facing. So if you have a partner or an assistant who can take your picture, I highly recommend that because the quality will be greater from the other camera on the back instead of the forward facing. But if you're just by yourself, set up a timer and press the button and give it a go.
Cool. Thank you so much, Trey. These were great tips and great ideas. How can people get in touch with you and learn more about your services?
Yeah, so the best place to get in touch with me is on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I'm always sharing branding tips and photography ideas. So on LinkedIn, it's Trade Bohlen. You can also email me at photographybytrae@gmail.com. But I really love LinkedIn connections because then I can come and look at what you're doing too.
Cool. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for
Yeah.
joining us on our podcast today. You can find more than 200 other episodes of Write Your Book in a Flash with Dan Janal on this YouTube channel. Thanks for checking in and check them out.